Whittles, a friend of kidnapped South African photojournalist Shiraaz Mohamed, says Islamophobia is the only reason he hasn't been rescued. Mohamed was kidnapped outside a Syrian hospital in 2017 while on a mission with Gift of the Givers. In a new video that surfaced on social media overnight, Mohamed is seen pleading for help. Govan Whittles is following the story for us. He joins us now in studio. So, of course, Govan, there have been some videos of him in the past. We've seen responses to that, but now another one emerging, pleading for people to help him.
Yeah, and this one is quite different to what we saw in the past. The first one, of course, was a proof of life video in which we saw Shiraaz with a long beard pleading for help and asking the South African government to intervene, particularly in the negotiations. This time round, the video begins with Shiraaz locked up in what appears to be a room underground. He is then handcuffed, he's then taken and blindfolded, and his beard is shaved on camera, something that doesn't usually happen in scenarios such as these. And he then goes on to plead for assistance, but he makes a point to reference Mr. Fekri Shaban. Now, he's the former chief financial officer at the Gift of the Givers Darkush Hospital in northern Syria, and he says that Shaban has been negotiating with the people keeping him hostage and apparently has angered them. And this video, it seems, is aimed to tell Shaban to change his approach because he now fears that he may lose his life because of it.
Yeah, and of course you've been speaking to Shiraaz Mohamed's friends. What are they saying about the attempts, the failed attempts, I should say, to actually try and save him?
Well, they've put it down to Islamophobia, and that's because there has been speculation in South African media and abroad that Shiraaz actually went to go join these rebel groups while in Syria. That's a rumor that's been going around for the last 2 years. No one has directly confronted it, but that's because all of the events relating to Shiraaz have been clouded in secrecy. Remember, he went into Syria illegally through the southern Turkish border and didn't have a Syrian passport, and because of that, the Department of International Relations says their hands are tied on the issue. But I spoke to Mujahid Safuddin, who's also an accomplished photojournalist in South Africa and a very close friend of Shiraaz. Let's have a look at what he said.
I think this whole thing is driven by Islamophobia. Everybody assumes that he probably went to go and join ISIS or any of these organizations, but it's not. He was just a really good Muslim. He's a good man. And I think there were a lot of reports locally, even our own media, South African journalists, saying this about this guy, about this friend of ours. He's a very good photojournalist, but he's a good Muslim, and people accused him of being an extremist, which is not true. I guarantee you, if he was a white man, if he was a white woman, he would have been home already, because there's none of that affects white people. It only affects us, black people. So that's my biggest disappointment. There hasn't been enough media people that they supported this thing as much as what everybody always they on our WhatsApp groups they all talk, they say things, but they do nothing because he's not a white man, he's not a white woman. If he was white, he would have been home. I guarantee you that.
Of course, he's very upset about the incident. Shiraaz has been there for a very long time. You've also been speaking to the Afro-Middle East Center. What are they saying?
Yeah, the Afro-Middle East Center pointing to the timing of the release of this video. And the last one was released just as the Syrian government and the Russian forces had begun to move into the Idlib province. This is the last province where the rebels, or so-called moderate rebels, are maintaining their front. And this time, the Syrian and Russian forces have made significant progress in the Idlib province and managed to drive out almost all of these ISIS rebels. And they suspect that is the province where Shiraaz is being held. And the Afro-Middle East Center's director, Naeem Jenna, was saying that the timing of this is significant because it seems as if the captors are trying to appeal to the South African government, who of course are allied with Russia, to try and call off the attacks on Idlib. But that, they think, will not happen.
And very quickly, tell us what the International Relations Ministry is saying.
Yeah, they're trying to keep mum on the issue. Remember, we have a new International Relations Minister, Naledi Pandor, taking over the department. But I did get to speak off the record to one of the senior officials in the department. They've said that they have someone designated to help with the negotiations. They're not willing to reveal who it is, but only attempting to reassure the press and the public that they haven't forgotten about Shiraaz and that they're dealing with this. They can't speak to the media, they say, because every time they do, the negotiations seem to be worsened.
All right, thanks so much for that. We appreciate it. Govan Whittles following that story for us.